Welcome to the RadioU podcast. Coming up, the one thing you absolutely cannot do at a wedding reception.
Also, is being single a luxury?
All that and more on the way next. Diet Cherry Coke fans rejoice. The popular beverage that's been discontinued since 2020 is making a comeback this summer. We just found out.
Yep.
I feel like that's exciting for some people. I always prefer Cherry Coke over original Coke. And that's true for Pepsi too. I love Wild Cherry Pepsi over Pepsi.
Okay.
I love Wild Cherry Pepsi over Cherry Coke. But Diet Cherry Coke has been gone for a while. It's finally making a comeback.
Yep.
But only temporarily. Here's my question for you, Allie. Well, two things. One, you love Diet Coke. You're always over there sipping one.
Yep.
Are you going to be sipping a Diet Cherry Coke this summer?
Probably not. I'm not the hugest fan, the biggest fan. Hugest is not a word. I'm not the biggest fan of cherry flavored sodas. So I don't think I will be going after this. But yeah, so I don't think so.
All right, it's not for you. Also, I want to know, this has been discontinued for 5 years now. It's making a comeback. If you got to choose one food, it could be food, it could be something completely not food related at all. Something that's been discontinued that you think needs to come back.
I think something that needs to come back, and this kind of ties into a conversation that we've had before. I think Movie Pass. If it could somehow have a way where it could be around and still be as good of a deal as it was for that short period of time, I would be so appreciative for that.
That might be the best summer of my life. Was when Movie Pass was in existence, and I was paying, I think it was $10 a month.
Yep.
And I already would see like a movie every week, anyways. When for a while, when $5 Tuesdays, me and Mrs. Hudson would just go.
Yeah.
But when Movie Pass was around, then we would go even more.
Right.
And we didn't have to feel bad about it.
No.
And yeah, that was, what a day. What a time. So
I wish that was around still.
I mean, we recently mentioned this, or somebody texted in, like there's AMC A-List. Each own theater chain kind of has their own pass, but it's nowhere near
as good of a deal.
It's almost not a deal at all.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, the Movie Pass, the AMC A-List or whatever it's called for AMC, the one that was sent in to us, it's not terrible. Like you need to go see, I think, 2 movies a month to get to that amount. So that's not bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're still paying way more than what you paid for Movie Pass.
If you know you can guarantee seeing 2 or 3 months of movies a month, I think it's worth it. But at this point, I don't know if I can guarantee that.
Yeah.
For me. So, but if Movie Pass was around, man, I'd sure try.
Exactly. I would give it a shot.
I think mine, I was thinking food, and this is kind of niche, and it wouldn't even help me that much because there's not one nearby. But Hardee's had this burger, and I'm telling you that it is the best fast food burger I've ever had.
Okay.
And it was a limited time thing, but it was the grilled cheeseburger, where it was, I believe all it was like grilled cheeses were the buns.
Yeah.
And then it had like, it was Hardee's, so you could get like 1, 2, or 3 patties in the middle with cheese, of course.
Right.
And mayonnaise, and maybe they would do tomato and bacon. I don't remember. But I'm telling you, this burger was so good. Because like, you know, a grilled cheese can be kind of sad, but the way they did it, it was not sad. It was good it just wasn't too much. I'm sure for some people it was. It was perfect for me.
Yeah.
And that was a short-lived thing, and now it's gone. But like I said, Hardee's would be at least a 30-minute drive for me, so I wouldn't go out of my way to go get this burger. But it was that good that I wish that would come back.
Yeah, that sounds like it was probably pretty decent.
Yeah, it was. I mean, grilled cheese and a cheeseburger. How could it actually be that bad?
Exactly.
And there's sit-down places that do this, but I mean, that's different than fast food.
Absolutely.
Different
more expensive.
prices. Yeah.
You have to actually take time to go sit down at the restaurant and order it. Yeah.
So let us know if you, and my answer would have been until recently, the caramel empanada at Taco Bell.
But that did come back.
But they brought it back.
Yeah.
So, and I do order that from time to time. So let us know if you have anything that comes to mind that you think they need to bring back next. Let us know at 8772-RadioU. Maybe we'll talk about it on the show sometime in the future. And here we have the rest of your podcast. Enjoy. Last night I guess this was where do the A's play now? Oh, no, it was in Los Angeles.
This was in Anaheim.
This was in Anaheim.
Yeah.
We got a possible catch of the year. I wish y'all could see it.
I know.
This is the difficulty of a radio show.
I hesitated putting this in our show prep because I was like, dang it, no one can see what we're talking about. But if you want to see it, text us 8772-RADIO-U and we'll send you the link to this video. But this catch was so spectacular that I was like, as baseball fans, which we both are, there's no way I have to talk about this. This catch is nuts.
And I've seen a lot of baseball and a lot of highlights, and I see a lot of time. And for some reason, it always feels like, well, you know what? Never mind. But like, I've seen a lot of catch of the year candidates.
Yeah.
This is far and away, to me, the best catch I've seen in baseball in a long time.
This is the best I've seen potentially ever. Just the height that Denzel Clark gets up to be able to fully extend his arm, backwards catch. Like, he's turned around and he gets it. He almost falls over the side of the, like he almost falls over the wall. The back wall there in Anaheim into their fake rocks, which looks so stupid. So yeah, it's just an insane catch. So if you want to see it, 8772-RADIO-U. But basically,
oh yeah, I should have known from the rocks that this was in Anaheim.
The fake rocks give it away. But Shanuel for the Angels, he's trying to hit a home run, and it would have been a home run. It was fully out by several feet. And Denzel Clark timed it up perfectly, runs up to the wall, kind of uses it to help launch himself into the air. And then with his hand kind of backwards, he catches it.
Yeah, like, backhanded, climbing the wall. And where he winds up with his midsection, like where his body is half over the wall on either side, and twists around so that he makes sure that if you watch old baseball highlights, I feel like this happens all the time. The player would catch it and then flip over the wall.
Yeah, fall over.
Which does no good. That's still a home run, right?
Right. If you fall over with the ball, yes, it's still a home run.
So he twists his body around, lands back in the outfield, saves the catch. And this is the third or fourth Denzel Clark catch that's been really amazing in the last few weeks too. He just did this the other day where he made a running catch and ran into the wall.
Yep.
And somehow escaped uninjured, so that he was still able to play in this game. So this guy is he's a monster in the field. He
really is. He's a great defender, clearly, and it just knows how to time it up for these pretty epic catches. I do feel like the Angels Stadium, for whatever reason, has something about it that lets players be able to do these home run robberies. But I do feel like
some walls are set up better for it.
Yeah.
Easier to climb.
These walls certainly are. I do feel like, though, every time I see these catch of the year's candidates, it's so funny to me because it's like, it's never a contender that does this. It's always teams that you're just like, I don't watch any of their games during the year because they're not that good.
Yeah.
And it's like Athletics, they don't even have a city anymore right now. Like, they're just in limbo until they can move to Las Vegas. And so it's just so funny because it's like, I love that they get a highlight, but it's like, this is kind of their only highlight.
Yeah, that's what they didn't even win the game last night, so a lot of good it did them to save this home run. It just shaved one run off their otherwise big loss. So
yeah,
sorry A's.
But I mean, Denzel Clark's little catch moment, like the picture of it, may end up in Cooperstown. You never know.
It's deserving. In the city of Montreal, they have posted no barking signs, where dog owners, some say pet parents, are responsible for making sure their dogs don't bark. Violators could be fined up to $2,000. We're talking the pet owners, not the dogs themselves.
Yeah,
where
obviously.
they get the money.
Obviously.
They posted these signs at a dog park.
What?
At the dog park at the corner of Jean Talon Street and Provincial Boulevard in Montreal's St. Leonard borough.
Good job.
The sign stipulates that it is forbidden for your dog to bark, howl, or whine.
What?
And you could be fined between $500 and $2,000 if you do not comply.
How are you controlling? Are they wanting you to put muzzles on your dog?
I don't know what
How are you supposed to control your dog from barking?
How you do it is up to you, but you just better make sure the dog keeps quiet, or there will be heck to pay.
I'm sorry. As soon as a dog sees another dog, they're going to bark.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing. And it's a dog park.
Well, I guess you just can't bring him to the dog park then.
Yeah, this seems like an absolutely ridiculous law.
Yeah, you're not the only one. Dog owner Melanie Richer says it's too much. It's really too much. I know it's to scare people, but it's not fair. And then this really gets at the heart of the matter to me. She says, it's stressful, to be honest. I'm always looking around to see if my dog is doing good. She's not barking too much. It's not fun anymore.
Takes the fun out of being at the dog park.
Yeah, you just can't have... I mean, it is kind of stressful to take your dog to a dog park because you never know. Are they going to get along with the other dogs? Maybe there's one dog that is a menace there that's like terrorizing, and then maybe it's biting, whatever. And so you just want to make sure everybody's getting along.
Right.
And it's fun, but it's, you got to be on your guard. But then you add this ridiculous stipulation.
so stupid.
And now how can anybody relax and have a good time at the dog park?
Right. Like, this is just a natural thing dogs do. There's no natural way to stop dogs from barking or whining. I mean, howling, I guess it's certain breeds that will howl. Not every dog is going to howl, but it just seems like you're anti-dog if you don't like barking.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what a dog does.
And if there's some areas in the city where with the noise, you just don't want dogs barking, sure. But at a dog park.
Yeah, like, that should be the place where you expect dog barking.
Yeah.
Like, if it's such a big deal, wherever these people were complaining enough for the city to pass this law, then move the dog park to another place.
There must have been... the sad thing is there had to be like some couple of... it must have been a couple of people in the neighborhood that don't have dogs, that are nearby, and they're like, I can't stand all this racket. But they would say it in French because it's Montreal. And... And so they complained enough at city hall meetings or whatever and got this sign posted. But $500 to $2,000 is a little ridiculous. Yeah,
that's an extreme amount. And as that girl said that you quoted, she was like, I know it's to scare people. I'm sorry, scare people? Is that what we do now with laws? I don't know if that's really a good thing.
One of those bad things, too, because it was me. I would be like rallying all of our dogs together, and I'd be like, all right, guys, let's hear it.
Protest!
Come on. They can't find all of us, right?
Protest.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Does Canada have the same, like, similar Bill of Rights, like you can peacefully protest?
Yeah. Remember the trucker thing?
They
were there forever in Ottawa.
Would barking be considered peaceful now?
I think that's peaceful.
I would say it was, but I would say it's also not something that needs to be outlawed.
Yeah.
And clearly Montreal thinks differently.
The good news is the bad news is this is not the first time this happened recently in Canada.
Really?
The good news is it was in Toronto in March, and they took the sign down very quickly.
So they repealed the law.
Yeah. So I imagine something similar happens here, right?
I would hope so.
This is going to get sorted out. How many fast food orders in 1 week is too many? 8772 RadioU. This is the second story in as many days that has really confirmed my fear that I need to be careful about employees at restaurants and like that do shopping for you or whatever, that serve you. They're judging you. In this case, yesterday it was a Instacart shopper that posted their judgment of hot dog choice for somebody they were shopping for. Today, it's a Wingstop worker who called out one of the regulars at their Wingstop that orders 3 to 4 times per week from this Wingstop.
Whoa.
And so this gal on TikTok posted out, she said, Alexa Munoz, I don't know who you are, but you need to stop ordering here. I can't let you do that to your health, bro. Please stop.
What?
3 to 4 Wingstop orders. That does sound, in a week, is a lot of sodium, if nothing else.
Yeah, that's a lot of wings, a lot of sauce, a lot of ranch, potentially, or blue cheese, whatever, sauce you're getting. But, that's a lot.
I'm just guessing they're not only ordering celery sticks.
Yeah. And I would also imagine if it's an order coming in like this, it might be something through like DoorDash or Uber Eats or something. Those are so expensive to use. That's got to be a lot of money per week.
But it's not your money.
it's not. You can do what you want with your money, but I will say that's a lot of money to spend on food per week.
So how many times in a week is too many to order? Like to where the employees know you at a restaurant?
At a particular fast food restaurant, how many times per week is too many? I would say, I don't know. I have personal feelings as far as like what I would do versus what maybe someone else would do. Maybe if somebody is in a financial position where it doesn't hurt them to do this multiple times a week, it's not as big of a deal. But I feel like if it is, you probably shouldn't do it at all.
Yeah.
Or maybe more than
some
once.
people would say that even ordering one fast food thing a week is no good, and you're even if you can afford that, you're killing your health by doing that. But come on, we got to have some fun in life.
Well, I would say for me, it's like, I wouldn't order it to my house or to my apartment. But I'm, maybe if I'm like out and I need to pick up something quick, I would go through a drive-through maybe. But I'm also not going to the same one every single time I need to go do that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to go multiple times a week either. Trying to eat at home when I can. So I don't know. I just feel like I try to avoid eating out as much as possible.
I decided from a young age, from when I worked at Panera, this was confirmed to me that I never want to be recognized at a restaurant.
Yeah.
That is all my thing. I don't think if you want to eat out 7 days a week at different fast food places
That's
or
your
whatever,
choice. Yeah.
go ahead, and no judgment here because I would if I could. But I would never, I don't know how often you have to go before they start to recognize you, but I don't want to be a regular anywhere.
Okay.
That's just not a relationship I want to have.
Yeah.
And it's not that the regulars at Panera weren't fine people. And I felt like that was a little different too. They'd come in, they'd have their coffee. A lot of them were like older folks. It's just like this is where they hung out. But I don't want to be the type of person where they see me walking in the door and they know what I'm ordering.
Oh, really?
Or they see the order come through the app and they're like, oh, there's Hudson again.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make sure we get it right for it. Like, I don't want to be that. I prefer to remain anonymous at Popeyes and all my other favorite establishments.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't really want to be a regular at any place. And like I said, for me, it's like I basically want to try and get in a race with myself to see how many times can I avoid eating out. It's like a competitive thing for me where it's like, how much money can I save by not eating out? Because it really is expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to, if you challenge yourself that way and make it a game.
Yeah.
For some of us competitive people, that might kind of work.
It's a good thing to try.
For a little bit.
Yeah.
This is going to sound crazy, but what if we've been thinking about being single all wrong? 8772 RadioU. A woman on TikTok has shared what has become a very controversial theory. So see what you think of this and let us know at 8772 RadioU. She says that being single is a luxury. Then you need to think of it that way when you are single and stop. She says, enjoy each phase of your life instead of running to the next. I'll say it. I actually like that a lot.
I agree with her on that aspect of what she said in this TikTok. That was her caption, I think, for the video. Because that's absolutely true. We're always searching for what's next and thinking about what the next thing ahead is rather than enjoying the moment we're in and the season of life we're in. And we should do less of that. So I agree with her on that. But as far as singleness being a luxury, I don't know if I would go to that extent to say that that's a luxury, because it makes it seem as if like, well, then being in a couple is like some type of, non-luxury.
Yeah,
like
it's a step down.
Yeah, and like I don't agree with that. I think every phase of your life, every season of your life is important. It has different values and different reasons why it's important. But I wouldn't elevate one over the other. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a luxury, but I also agree with the sentiment that we shouldn't be rushing to what's next.
Yeah, I think maybe if the word luxury could make it sound comparative to being in a relationship.
Yeah.
But I think both can be true. Depending on where you are in life, both can be luxuries. And so both can be, you should be able to enjoy both. And she goes on to say in the TikTok, you literally don't know when the last day you're going to be single. And this is so true. Like once you get into a relationship, or then once you get married, there's great things about it, but there's also things that you don't even realize that you're going to
miss.
Yeah, that you would have loved, that you loved about being single, or you enjoyed about being single, that you will never, hopefully anyways, because you're married now, you will never get again.
Yeah.
And those are good things, and so you should enjoy them while you have them. And so it's all about enjoying what you have at the time. And that doesn't mean that you should never want to be in a relationship, of course, but it does mean that, and this is so true for so many things, like if you're at a lower level job, that can be a luxury too. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't strive to one
work
day
your way up.
have a job that pays better and more responsibility, but enjoy the freedom that comes with not having as much responsibility. And so there's so many different areas of life where I think this mindset can hold true, is enjoy the phase of life that you're in, find the things that are luxuries that you may only be able to experience right now where you are, and that one day, once this thing that you want to change changes, you won't ever get these things that are good again.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that sentiment. I think the reason why this TikTok went viral and why people were kind of upset with this TikToker in the comments was because she is in a relationship.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's something to be said about when you are, in a new phase of life. When you look back on an old phase, you kind of look at it with nostalgia. So you only remember the positives.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't really remember the negatives. And so a lot of people in the comments were pointing that out. Like, well, you're talking about it now being somebody that's in a relationship and you kind of have that security with that. And for the rest of us that are, in these comments that aren't in a relationship, we're looking at you like the grass is always greener on that side.
Yeah.
And so, it's just like, it's interesting to see why this went viral with all of these comments being very negative towards this TikTok, where I think there's positives that can be pulled from it, but I would also say there's more nuance to be offered than just the statement of being single is a luxury.
And it would be nice if people that were single would also say this, but once you're in a relationship, you have that perspective to be able to look back, whereas if you've always been single, you wouldn't know. That's all you've ever known.
Yes.
And so, and I just think so much, like, I think a great example is like, people that grow up and then you're like, man, I wish I could be a kid again, all that freedom and whatever. And when you're a kid, you're like, I hate my parents. They tell me everything I need to do. And so if you could just learn a lesson from that of just being like, everything, there's always things to enjoy in every phase of life. And so find what those are and enjoy them while you have them, because you never know when they'll go away.
Right. The moon sometimes can be so good at marketing.
Yeah.
It knows that something is very popular right now, and that is strawberries. They seem to be making a comeback in, home decor and decorating and all of the things that we enjoy in life, because the strawberry moon makes its appearance tonight. And it's pretty...
What a collab.
Right. It's pretty cool, though, because it's not only a strawberry moon, but also it's the lowest full moon that we've ever had in like 20 years.
Okay.
So it's been a minute since the moon has been this low.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. So it's set to make an appearance tonight, June 10th through the 11th, and it'll be a really awesome sight because of that strawberry moon. So it's gonna have that really cool like pinky red color to it, and it's gonna be lower, so it'll actually look bigger and more full than other times that we see a full moon.
It's just called a strawberry moon because it's supposed to have more of a strawberry color.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be the judge of that.
You should be the judge of that.
How do I view this, Allie?
Just go outside.
Oh, just go outside.
Yeah, there's no special, like, it's not like trying to view Venus or something, it's the moon.
It's the moon, and it should be bigger and more obvious than normal?
Yes, because it'll be lower. And so...
When you say lower, though, that means closer to Earth, but does that mean, like, where on the horizon am I looking?
I mean, you're still going to be looking up. It's not going to be, like, right straight in front of you.
Okay.
But...
Because sometimes the moon is positioned, it's positioned different, right?
Yeah, depending on where we are in orbit and everything. I don't want to say exactly where you need to look because we have a lot of people listening from different areas of the world and of the country. And so it's hard to pinpoint exactly where. Just look up. you'll see the moon. It's full, it's big, it's going to be red, you'll see it. It's not going to be blood red, it's not the blood moon that we are all used to at this point. But this phenomenon that we're experiencing for the first time since 2006, with the whole moon being the lowest it's been in 20 years.
Yeah.
I guess that's 19 years. It's a result of what is known as the inclination of the moon's orbit. So the moon, the orbit's kind of dragged around every 18.6 years, if you want to be very specific with that.
Okay.
But it's also known as the major lunar standstill. So I guess the moon is like standing still. I don't know how this phenomenon exactly works, but
it sounds like a character from Avatar or something.
Yeah,
that's Major Lunar Standstill.
Major
Lunar
cross
him.
Standstill. Yeah, certainly. But yeah, that's why this moon is going to be the lowest that it's been. So it'll appear even larger and brighter than usual.
Wow, you said it best though at the beginning. The moon really has the best marketing team out there.
It really does.
It feels like once a month. I mean, we get a full moon every 28 days, right?
Yeah.
And every 28 days, I see a headline about how this full moon is different.
Yeah. Like, this is better than the last one.
Yeah.
This is why you need to be getting up and going out and looking.
It's not just a full moon. It's a strawberry moon. It's a bloodworm moon. It's an apple moon. It's actually that'd be, if Apple started working on it.
Oh my gosh, no, we don't want advertising on the moon.
That'd be quite a collaboration.
That's already been made illegal, I believe, the whole advertising in space thing.
Yeah, give it time. On the ice last night, the Florida Panthers took a 2-1 lead in the Stanley Cup Final after the first 2 games had a combined 3 overtimes, settled by 1 goal each. They've both been so close. Then you get game 3 last night, which was an absolute blowout.
Was game 2 only double overtime?
It was double overtime.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking it had gone 3.
It 2 overtimes in the prior game.
Yeah, and then 1 overtime in the
game
first
1.
game.
Yeah. And last night, no overtime was needed at all because the Panthers won the game 6-1. They got to an early lead and never really relinquished it. Meanwhile, though, the other fun was that an all-out brawl eventually took place in the third period, where I believe every single player on the ice, maybe save for the goalies, got into it.
Pretty much.
And it was so cool, too, because, at least cool to me, some people don't like fighting. I love fighting. I love when the tensions boil over. And this is just this is something unique to hockey where you can have this. And the officials, the referees were not even trying to interfere and break up the fights. They were just like,
there were
commentators literally said they're just going to let them tire themselves out.
Well, I think, yes, for the most part, there were several fights where they were just like, leave them alone, let them go. There were a few, once they hit the ice, they're like, all right, separate or whatever. But for the most part, the cameraman didn't know what to focus on.
Yeah.
If you go watch this clip, it's just the cameraman zoomed out because there's just there's a fight over here and there's a fight over here. It's just everything.
You think
chaos.
Hockey, there's literally, besides the goalies, there's 5 players on each team on the ice at a time, and I think all 5 on each team were fighting.
Yeah, they all had a partner in this tango.
Yeah, the officials' top priority was just keeping the players on the bench from hopping off, which that's a whole other step. That would have been a big problem. But just about every player that was involved in this was with less than 10 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah.
All got 10-minute misconducts, which means they were out for the rest of the game. And so, but at that point, the game had already been over and done with. It was, I think, 5-1 at that point.
It might have already been 6-1, when this fight broke out.
And the Oilers, but this is what we talked about earlier on in the series, is that the Panthers are so pesky and tough, and they just do all these little things that they are very skilled, but they also just really outwork, out-tough you, just annoy you to death. And they've clearly done that to the Oilers here, where the Oilers' frustrations boiled over. The Oilers tried to get a fight started in the first period as well, when they were already down 2-0, and the Panthers didn't necessarily bite on that. So, I think the Oilers are getting a little frustrated here, it looks like. There's also, I heard, to add a little more gamesmanship to this, last night's game was in Florida, right?
Yes.
It's very hot.
Yeah.
In hockey, if it, you keep the ice cool and whatever, it'll be nice and smooth and whatever for you. But if it gets a little warm, and we've seen this at a lot of outdoor games, the ice can get a little more choppy. It makes it harder to make crisp, smooth passes and everything, make the cut, the kind of, hairpin turns that Connor McDavid will do. And so there are some allegations that like maybe Florida kind of turned down the air conditioning just a little bit to warm up the arena last night to make the ice a little choppier than the Oilers would like to benefit the Panthers, which I actually like. To me, that just adds to the fun. Yeah. And also I'm cheering for the Panthers. So
I know
like
you're cheering
too.
for the Panthers. I don't really have a horse in this race. I did feel like this series was going to be really close, like we talked about. It went to 7 last year.
Yep.
But I will say the Panthers, when they're in this form, they look unstoppable.
Yeah.
They truly look unstoppable.
They won 6-1.
They won 6-1, but also, as you said, they just get under the skin of the opponent when they're this good.
Yeah.
The Oilers could not stand it to the point where they were just getting in fights to try and ramp up their team to put a little more effort into the game. And that didn't even work.
Yeah.
It actually backfired most of the time.
When you start fights at an opposing arena, a lot of times that amps up their crowd.
Right.
Now, again, this game was already long over by the time the fights happened.
With the first fight, it cost them, goals.
Yeah.
So to me, it backfired because it's like now you let the Panthers have power plays because you tried to get into these fights to amp up the intensity, and so you gave up more goals in that way. And so I feel like they fought themselves out of this game.
Yeah, they got to keep cooler heads if they're gonna do this, but that's hard to do in sunny Sunrise, Florida, where the Panthers are turning the air conditioner up to, let's just leave it at 81. Let's save a little electricity tonight. There's no excuse for this, right? 8772 RadioU. Let me know if there's ever any reason, any scenario where it's okay to propose at another person's wedding reception. Another couple's wedding reception. That's an all-time no-no. You can't do that, right?
A cardinal sin.
Tell me a scenario where that's okay.
Yeah, no, this is not. It's not okay.
This is not okay. I'll give you the scenario where it just happened, though, believe it or not. Some people had never heard of this rule, apparently. The rule that you don't take attention away from a couple that's getting married at their own wedding.
At their own reception.
We have a guy who proposed to his girlfriend at the wedding reception. He did not ask anybody for permission.
Oh my goodness.
Not a single person. He had the ring with him. He said he did not plan it, but here's the explanation. He said he decided to do it in the moment. His girlfriend, now fiance, she did say yes.
Okay, good.
Caught the bouquet. And he already had the engagement ring in his wallet, so inspiration struck after the fact. His girlfriend, now fiance, says, we do acknowledge that it would have been more appropriate for Josh, the man in question, to ask beforehand, but they were both very happy for us.
Yeah.
I'm sure the couple that just got married, it was very happy for you.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's okay.
It doesn't make it okay, but I do think that this couple, I do think they're genuinely truthful and that this wasn't planned. And so there was no time for the guy to ask ahead of time, I suppose. Like he wasn't thinking ahead, but because in the clip itself, the girl that gets engaged, she turns to the bride and asks her, did her boyfriend ask for permission? And the bride says, no, he didn't, but it's totally okay. Say yes. And so at the end of the day, the bride was happy, but yes, don't do this. Do not do this.
Yeah, it's not this tells me a lot about this guy's poor planning.
Yeah,
because he didn't plan. Poor. And I have to imagine too that for the gal in the scenario, the now fiance, she probably would prefer to have like a better proposal moment than kind of outshining the star on the wedding day.
Yeah, she would.
And because also like not only when you're getting married is that like your day and you're supposed to be the center of attention. When you get engaged, you're also supposed to be like the star and the center of attention and whatever. And so she didn't get to be that either. And now a pall of controversy is over your engagement. Come on.
Right. And
This is a big no-no.
it's so dramatic too, because it's like she's crying, which I know like that's a normal response when you get engaged, to cry, because it's so shocking most of the time. You're like, what just happened? And everybody's very happy for her, but it does create a big scene, you know, and how can it not? It's an engagement. And so this is tough.
What
This
do
is
you
really
do
tough.
at the wedding reception after that if you're
Right.
the couple that just got married?
Party it up, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely a no-no. And I mean, the bride handled it very well. Props to her.
I love what one of the comments says on TikTok. The bride needed to announce her pregnancy at the wedding. It's only fair. And somebody else says basically that this couple that just got engaged now needs to they need a better gift. Whatever wedding gift they brought, not good enough. You got to go bigger to make up for this.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you could afford an engagement ring, surely you can afford a nicer gift for this happily married couple.
Yeah, maybe you should just give them some cash, pay them off a little bit.
Just another thing. We've had so many already. This week is 2 days old. I didn't think we'd have to say these things.
Yeah, I know. These should be basic things that everyone should know.
For anybody that didn't know, don't propose at another person's wedding.
Yes, don't do it.
You've got workplace issues that need sorted out. We're here to help. Email mornings@radiou.com with your situation. We have one here from somebody who works at a bowling alley. I worked at a bowling alley. I wasn't saying works at a bowling and talking to you, just to be clear.
I knew that.
Okay. On Sunday, I was feeling really sick. The protocol that the managers have communicated to us is if you need your shift covered, call the center and speak to someone. It's what I've always done, or I call off in advance, or I try to get it covered earlier in the week. Either way, I've never don't show up no matter what. So Sunday, I'm sick. I'm supposed to start at 1 p.m. I call the center at 11:30 a.m. No one answers, so I leave a voicemail. No one gets back to me. Then I call my supervisor because no manager from any department got back to me. She tells me that she'll get my shift covered. I tell her if she cannot find anyone to take my party, because it's a bowling alley, she does parties, I will still come in. She says if she doesn't get back to me, then I will have to come in. I agree, even though I'm sick. Time goes by and she texts me, "You're covered, no worries." I'm relieved and I go back to rest. But later that day, my friend and coworker, we'll call him Dave, calls me and lets me know that one of the managers says they need to write me up because I did not call off properly. I ask, why does that deserve a write-up? He says, the manager said it's a rule. You cannot call off within 2 hours of your shift for being sick unless you have a doctor's note. Okay?
Okay.
But this was a Sunday, so we have several reasons why that doesn't make any sense. It's a Sunday. Your doctor's office is closed. She says, I'm not going to go to the urgent care and pay a bill that my employer also won't pay just because I have a fever, tummy ache, and congestion, which I can treat at home. It's not my fault that I did what I've always done in the past, and that had any manager done their job and returned my call, they could have let me know of this rule, and then that they all of a sudden decided to implement, and I would have shown up. Basically, she's claiming she never heard about this rule before, and that now she's getting in trouble even though this is what she's always done. And she can't predict when she's going to be sick on the weekend. And she said she would have come in. So what should she do? Push back against the write-up here, or just let it roll and, and just charge this one to the game, as we like to say.
Oh, boy.
8772 Radio U. We need some helpful advice in this situation. You tried to call off the right way. You find out after the fact, apparently it's the wrong way. Now you're getting written up. What do you do? We heard from Tim, who says, get a new job possibly. You called off at the right time. It's not your fault. Your managers can't do their job and listen to a voicemail or pick up a phone.
Yeah, that's definitely not your fault.
That's not your fault. I will say the idea that the managers are supposed to constantly check the voice, how often would you check a voicemail?
Yeah, that's true.
It'd be easy to miss.
Those can go unlistened to for a long time at a bowling alley. Heard from Logan. He said he'd push back against the write-up. Sounds like that place has poor management skill set, as the managers are responsible for making sure that all employees know the proper procedures on calling in sick. And I think that's key too, because she mentioned like no employees were ever given any handbook or any type of, written text like, hey, these are the rules or these are the procedures you need to follow if you're going to call in sick. She was just doing what had either been modeled for her or what had worked for her in the past. And so at no point was she shown or told a different way to call in sick. So how can you blame her for that?
Yeah, I do think that's poor communication. If there is a specific protocol for calling in that she didn't, or for calling off, that she didn't know about when she's mentioned that she's called off many times before. And it's always been fine. I do kind of like Dylan's advice, who says, personally, I would just eat the write-up because they honestly don't mean much, especially if it's something you don't have much of an issue with. However, life happens, and if your employer can't be understanding based off of circumstances and the attempts made to solve the issue, then maybe that employer isn't good enough for you in your life, and it's time for a new job.
Yeah, and I feel like you're going to run into these issues too with, a job like a bowling alley job. You're going to run into some inconsistency.
Yeah.
Because there's different managers working different nights. There's some that are going to be sticklers. There's some that aren't going to be really lax. And so it's so hard to really try and stick with, like, this is the way to go every single time with a job like this. Because, I mean, I can remember working similar jobs. And depending on the manager, there were certain...
some were really cool and easy to deal with, and some of them were like, you got to do this and give us this form and whatever.
Right, and there were certain ways that you did it with this manager, like called off or dealt with an issue like, finding somebody to cover a shift, and different ways for another manager. So it's really tough when you're dealing with this, because it also could be this is a rule on the book somewhere.
Yeah,
you never knew about
it.
But no one's enforced it until now, until this manager shows up and is like, well, right now we're going to start enforcing it, and you happen to be the example, which that sucks, but that's just the way it goes sometimes.
I would say if you otherwise like working there and you haven't had any other issues, then I think Dylan's right and eat the write-up. I also think this was easy to miss because there's a lot of details there, but we're taking, first of all, I guess in any fired or hired, we're taking the word of the person who wrote in the first place that this was a rule that not anybody else knew about, or what I mean? That this is something totally new, but also you're taking, as the person in this case, the word of your friend who says that a manager said you're getting written up.
Yeah.
Do we even know if that's true, or if they're pulling your chain, or if the manager was just saying that, but that's just because they're frustrated and that's not actually true, which I don't know, why are they saying that to another employee that's not a manager? I don't know.
Right.
But like, I do think that there's a lot of wiggle room here for it to just be, this is a one-off thing, and let it roll off your back. And I mean, you're not going to work at the bowling alley. It doesn't sound like they work full time even. So this is not the last job you'll ever have. So
right.
If you need to move on, go ahead.
Yeah.
People are complaining about the NBA Finals. Why? Because of the court. Have you seen people getting all up in arms about this, Allie?
I have not seen people getting up in arms about this, but I have seen these logos.
Did it bother you? So the idea is, in the NBA Finals, traditionally, they do something special with the court where, like, there's some really cool pictures posted of, in the past, they would, like, actually put a giant Larry O'Brien trophy image would actually be a part of the court.
Yep.
Or sometimes the NBA Finals script logo that we've all seen.
Yep.
This year, they couldn't be bothered to do that, at least in Oklahoma City. And so in the first game, they digitally added in, and comically so, two visuals of the Larry O'Brien trophy. And then in game 2, they swapped it out for the script logo, but still these are digitally altered in, on the screen. If you were there in person, you would not see these.
Right.
And it does not look very good. And so people have been complaining about this, making it feel like this is why are the NBA Finals on TV, this Mickey Mouse operation, instead of actually, taking it seriously and making it feel like a big deal.
Right.
How do you feel about it?
I feel like absolutely they need to put something on the actual court. They have been trying to make us feel like this play-in tournament that they're doing, or this mid-season play tournament thing that they do, to get more people excited about the regular season. They've been trying to make us think that that's a big deal. And they create special courts for each team to play these games during this in-season tournament. That's the word I was looking for, in-season. And so they create a whole new court for that. This is the finals.
That's like 8 games a year for each team.
Right, and that's not even a big deal yet. We've only done it for 2 seasons, and you do a whole special
Nobody
court?
even remembers who won this year.
Exactly.
I have no idea.
It's not that big of a deal. No one actually cares about that. This is actually meaningful, and you can't even put a little logo on the court. You have to digitally add it in, which, like, as soon as a player runs over it, it makes it obvious that it's not real.
Yeah. And when nobody's running over it, it still is obvious. And like I watch, like in hockey, they do now digital ads on the boards where it's all like that's all added in TV.
Yeah.
And it's different from what you would see in person.
And soccer has done that for years.
And it's very obvious, but at least it blends in, even though because like they're animated and stuff. So like it's doing stuff. But this is not. It's just so obvious that it's not on the court.
Yeah, it's bad.
It looks like clip art on the on the NBA Finals court. And so while it does feel ridiculous to be complaining that they're not putting actual graphics on the floor when there's already so many other graphics on the floor to make it an eyesore in the first place, it also, you're right though, it's the comparison to this in-season tournament where they make every team have a ridiculous looking floor that's completely different from what they normally have.
Yep.
And then they can't be bothered to add one extra decal to the court in the NBA Finals when it is actually a big deal is kind of silly.
It's ridiculous. So yeah, I think that comparison really sinks this for me, because even if they came out and said, well, we don't want to put a new decal on the court or whatever, it'd be like, well, what about the in-season tournament when you make every single team for their home games have a new court that's only used for a few games in that season?
Yeah.
So I feel like that makes this a moot point that they shouldn't do this. They absolutely should do something special for the finals.
If I had to guess, and we'll see how it looks different in the next game, which is in Indiana, so switching courts, and that'll be tomorrow. But maybe the other giant advertisements that are on, and I don't mean advertisements for Giant, the grocery store in the East Coast. I mean, there's massive advertisements on the Oklahoma City floor that maybe are getting in the way of them being able to do anything else that they might like to do.
Right.
And they can't remove those or can't alter those because of the contracts. But like, come on, figure something out.
Because the space where they put it in digitally is open. They could definitely put a real decal on there.
You could do something better. And it just makes you look cheap.
Yeah.
It just honestly makes you look cheap like this is NASCAR or something. Even NASCAR wouldn't do.
Thanks for listening to the RadioU podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the show.